Hi, it's Leia here in Germany in a lovely field in the middle of I don't know where.
Doesn't matter, it's pretty.
It's
That's
pretty.
all that matters.
Yeah, there's some nice
Yes.
dry grass and a
Yes.
beautiful forest over there which you can't see. And I'm here with Michaela and
Hi.
hi.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, and we're just sitting out here and just going to have a little chat about things and share some thoughts about yoga. So you might want to ask me a couple of questions.
Oh, I will.
And yeah, we'll just have a very informal chat
Right.
and share some stuff.
See, I'm not coming from yoga. I don't know anything about it. So I would like you to explain to me what kind of yoga are you doing?
Okay, so I've trained in a style of yoga called Ryoho yoga, so it's a Japanese style. So it still has its basis in the Indian Hatha style of yoga.
What is that?
So it's just traditional yoga. Hatha yoga is just the general term for yoga.
For any yoga?
For any yoga.
Okay.
And all yoga has pretty much come from that point.
Because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
See, to me, when I hear yoga, yoga is yoga.
Yeah.
And now I know all of a sudden there's all those different sorts of yoga.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even know, what is important. What does that kind of yoga compare to yours, and what is traditional? I mean, you need to explain this now
Okay.
for dummies.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, well, okay, I'll do my best.
Yes.
My knowledge isn't exactly rock solid in every aspect of yoga, but from what I know, there's, I guess, different styles of yoga from different lineages. I don't know if that's the right word. So depending upon who was taught by who, so it's sort of you could trace back to different people. And then, way back there were, people who learnt styles of yoga and then adapted a style to suit a certain need or requirement. So, for instance, my teacher, he studied with several teachers in India and in Japan. And his teachers studied with other teachers.
Okay.
So over time things get adapted and changed. So the style that I practice and teach is based on a Japanese style, which was developed by a Japanese guy. I think he was Korean actually, but he lived a long time in Japan. His name was Masahiro Oki. So his style of yoga is actually called Okido yoga, so the way of Oki. Being his name, Oki.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, do means the way in Japanese. So his style, he studied with teachers in India as well, and his style is based around traditional Hatha yoga, so the traditional poses, yoga poses, but he's also developed it into a therapeutic style, so on the basis that there's different ways we can access the body through different movements and specific movements to create balance and harmony. I guess how I see it from my teacher who studied with Masahiro Oki and other teachers like Iyengar, who was another Indian, very famous Indian yoga teacher who lived till he was 90-something. Iyengar yoga is a very popular style of yoga as well. They use a lot of props in
What's
their
that?
classes, so things like ropes and bolsters and blocks.
Okay.
And they use these sorts of props to get into poses, to stay in poses, to support themselves in poses. Whereas my teacher, he hardly any use of props, if at all. So, what was I saying? So this style of yoga is more therapeutic in that how I see it is that a lot of people come to yoga with little or no ability to stretch their bodies necessarily. They, you see those pictures of people doing yoga in these beautiful, crazy, poses, and it's like, well, that's not really achievable for, probably 95% of the population.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So we come with bad backs, we come
Yes.
with crooked spines, we come with uneven hips, pain, that type of thing, shoulders, neck tight, all this kind of stuff. So the yoga I do is more aimed at trying to relieve those symptoms, but also create a stable and strong core, so that we can move more freely physically, but then that also releases or provides the ability to also change the way we think. So once we work with the body, then the mind can also shift, and we're open to new possibilities. Because if we're always tight and tense, then it's really hard to sort of see things from different perspectives.
Yes.
So once we can loosen up and go,
Right.
it's like you can feel everything just expands in a way.
So, just for me, not knowing anything about this yoga, what makes your kind of yoga, the way you teach it, the way you learn it, why is it so different from other styles of yoga? I mean, I believe, this is what I know from my no knowledge, that it just helps you release tension, it helps you to get into a relaxed state, it helps you to maybe just kind of, you were mentioning this therapeutic approach. So why is your kind of yoga different?
Okay, so every class is different. So several styles of yoga you learn set sequences. So in Ashtanga yoga, there's like a set sequence that they teach, and in certain other styles of yoga, there's also these set sequences. But like I said before, a lot of people can't achieve those because their bodies aren't flexible enough or strong enough.
Right.
And so with the yoga I teach, I guess the end goal is perhaps being able to do a particular standing pose or a pose. So in order to get there, we look at, I guess, reducing. We start to tone into the body and stretch and release. So we work into the back, we work into the belly, open the sides, just create a bit more.
So it's more preparation work, would you say it like that?
Yeah, the first part of the class is about preparing the body. And we do different exercises, and sometimes, we do them a little bit faster just to let go of the mind. So when you start breathing faster or moving faster, the mind starts to let go.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of people come and they get confused with the breathing, and that's okay. You don't need to get it straight away. It's just an idea. But the more you practice it, the easier it gets. And so the first part of the class is about loosening and letting go, putting some tone, stretching, opening, and then depending on the class, depending on who comes, it really, every class, like I said, every class is different, and we just see what people bring to the class, and there's different, I guess, diagnosis techniques by looking at people's bodies as they're lying on the mat, which way their feet turn or their legs go, that type of thing, and just identifying where there perhaps a weakness is or a tightness is, and just asking as well verbally, who's got tight shoulders or who's got a sore back, or how are you guys feeling today, and then we just sort of work into that. And it also has a seasonal focus as well. Yeah,
I was going to ask you about that, because I remember you told me something about the seasons, the different seasons. So just please explain that.
Yeah, so because of Masahiro Oki, the Japanese sort of founder of this style, it has a connection to what's called traditional Oriental medicine, and that encompasses the philosophies of yin and yang, also the 5-element theory. So the 5 elements being the cycle of nature. So in summer, the fire element is dominant. In autumn, it is the metal element. In winter, the water element. And in spring, the wood element. And then in between, between summer and autumn, there's a late summer period as well, which is the earth element. And we kind of get earth. Traditionally, it's seen that earth comes actually between each season. So there's a transition period between each season, and that's when the earth element sort of.
But how do you apply that in yoga? It's a
good question.
Because it's okay. I heard about the elements, but now it's like, how do you apply that?
Yeah, so it can be quite simple, or it can actually be quite complex, depending. So, for instance, So taking it one step further. So with the elements, we have the different. So if let's take.
We have summer now.
Summer.
Right?
Okay, so we're in summer. Yeah.
Yes.
So summer. Although it doesn't feel that hot, but we're in Germany, so it's okay. So summer is the fire element. So that's the rising upward and it's expansion. Okay, so everything's like, things are growing, expanding outwards. And so it ties into the particular organs in the body as well. So for summer, the organs in our body that relate to summer are the heart and the small intestine. So I remember you saying just today or yesterday about people's hearts, get a bit hot in summer. So I'm not sure of the statistics, but generally heart attacks happen more often in summer.
Really?
Because of that connection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
wow.
or can happen. So if you see someone with a really red face and a puffy, end of their nose is puffy and red, or even purpley, that can indicate a heart condition.
Or drinking problem.
Well, they can be related. So we can actually diagnose people just by looking at them as well, using this 5 elements and what have you. So in summer, heart energy is about communication. So in summer, parties, connecting with people is, it's easier to do that. Whereas in winter, you kind of just want to close away.
I understand that.
Yeah. And then the partner organ of the heart is the small intestine. So the small intestine is about gathering and, it's that digestive process of extracting minerals into our blood. And so for instance, in a summer class, we would look at potentially doing heart and small intestine exercises. So there's specific postures and movements that will focus on those areas.
And you don't necessarily need to have a problem with that. So it's just that it's summer season, now we're doing heart and the small. This is the thing. Even though if you, let's say you had a liver problem, I'm just making this up, I have no idea. Would you still work on the summer, the season?
You can. It depends. So for instance, also the elements feed into each other as well. So in order to get into summer, you want to do some work on the liver and gallbladder as well, because the liver and gallbladder are the wood element of spring. So each one supports the other one. So
does it really matter then where you start? I mean, since you're going through it anyway, right? But so why? I'm just does the body know that you're actually supposed to work on the season, or
it's not? It's just a way of, I guess, harmonizing with nature in a way.
Okay.
So the body instinctively does what it does, and it will tune into what's going on in the environment around you.
So it would not excuse my stupid questions here, because
that's okay.
Like summer now, and if we would do the winter season now in my body, which would be what kind of organs?
That would be the kidney and bladder.
Okay, so would that sort of kind of confuse the body?
No.
But why? Is it? I mean, does it really need to be so structured? Is it? You said to harmonize the body and get it in tune with nature, but is it really that? Does it have to be that strict, or is it not just a matter of you can? It doesn't. You just sort of get all the organs into alignment.
Yeah, I guess it's a tool. It's just one of those tools. For instance, you wouldn't necessarily do a whole class that just focuses specifically on heart and small intestine movements. You would do a class that encompasses perhaps all of the elements, but with some key heart or small intestine poses in there to create some sort of change or to support something or develop something.
Okay, I hear that. Now, there's a question I have. Do people, because I know that you're doing this now for over 20 years, right? You're doing practicing yoga, and you're teaching yoga for a long time, so you know what you're doing. So, and you have a lot of people who come to your class, and a lot of different people, young ones, old ones, the ones who have some aches and pains. So, they give you feedback, right? So, what's kind of when you let's just make this up. You have this person, he has this really chronic back pain and doesn't feel too good. Like, when would you see like a dramatic change? Like over what time of period are we talking about? Are we talking about a couple of weeks? Just maybe once a week. That person comes to you once a week and does it, and he does it really diligently. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I know it's just on average. You know, you probably cannot say it takes exactly that time, but would it take a year, or would it? What's your experience in that? Roughly.
Roughly. Okay, that's a good question. I think, I think if I knew the person came and they had a back problem. So when people come, I get them to fill out a form with some bit of information, so I kind of know what might be troubling them. So that kind of helps. But if we're treating a back problem, and depending on the severity, of course, you can get relief after one class, but to sustain that, I think if you came once a week for a few months, you would notice that things have improved. I know, for instance, I've had women come with some back trouble, and maybe 3 to 6 months later, they're like, "Oh, I don't need to see the physio or the chiro anymore. My back is feeling really good." Yeah. So
now, what about that's I get that can happen really fast sometimes, depending on how bad it is. But how about the mental thing behind it? Now, when you say you work on the organs in a way, I'm just asking, is it kind of like, is there like a placebo effect? Like, if you would not tell them, now we're doing certain exercises and we are working on the heart now, or on the liver or kidneys, and you would not tell them, you would just do the movements, would they feel that something in their body would change without knowing?
I think to a degree. I think, obviously educating people as you're teaching them is a really important part of the process. So it's really about bringing awareness. If you don't have that awareness or understanding, then you're not getting your bang for your buck, really. So I think, I think that, if I didn't say anything, there would be some benefit by being able to explain it, and getting people to sort of tune into their bodies and try and feel it. Whether they feel anything or not is irrelevant, I guess. But I think the placebo effect can only go so far. But I think the knowledge, it may be a placebo effect. Maybe it really is just the mind working, and by telling yourself you're working on this organ, that it's going to improve it. But there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, okay, I get it. It's the hen or the egg. Doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
So, I just had a question.
I think for me, sorry to interrupt your thought there.
Thank you for interruption.
But I think for me, having practiced, like when I first started learning this yoga, I think having that understanding, just being able to tune in to your body after doing a movement or whilst you're in a movement, and just paying attention to how it feels and how you feel afterwards. You can really get a lot from that. Just that awareness.
Okay, you're talking. That was the question I had.
Yeah.
So, you need to have this level of awareness before you do the yoga, or does yoga actually help you to get that awareness, or is it also goes both ways?
No, I think the yoga helps you get that awareness.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, is there like, I mean, there's a lot of people coming in and out on your classes, right? So. Would you say that there's a certain type of people who come to your class?
Good question. There's lots of different types of people, and I think it's with anything. If people feel it resonates with them, then they'll make more of an effort. If people feel the connection to the teacher, for instance, they'll want to come more. So it does come down to the teaching style and I guess to some degree the personality of the teacher. So I like to make my classes as interesting but also lighthearted. I don't like to sort of, push people too far or make it seem really impossible. But people like challenges as well. I think it's all about finding that balance between challenge and simplicity.
Yeah.
So I think there's certain people that perhaps are drawn to that more than others, and some people they really just want a hard, fast yoga class with a sequence they can memorize. But if they want that, then that's not my class.
Okay, all right, that's interesting to know. Okay,
Yeah.
so you kind of go easy a little bit, and you sort of don't just say we're going to do this program. You really adjust it to the people who come,
Yeah,
right?
and it also depends on the time of day. So morning classes, the Saturday morning class is generally a bit faster or a bit stronger. Although it does depend on who comes.
Yeah, I hear you. All right.
Whereas the evening classes we tend to do, we probably finish with some more relaxing stuff at the end. Not necessarily just lying there, but some stretches that help relax the kidneys so that when we go home we can relax and it's okay, we're not still all hyped up. So time of day, time of year, type of people.
Yes,
There's a lot of variables.
Like energy probably in the room as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just some facts and figures. Like how often should somebody do yoga so it does have an effect? And like what's the length of each session that you would recommend?
Oh, okay. Well, my classes are an hour. I think that's a really tricky question.
Yeah, well.
I think, okay, so one class a week is great. Obviously more than that is even better. Again, it comes down to obviously the time you have available.
Okay.
Again, yoga is a practice, so you need to practice to get the benefits out of anything.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a really good piano player, you're probably going to practice every day.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to feel really good and have a healthy body and strong mind, then a daily yoga practice is also really good. But again, it comes down, that's not for everyone. So even I think once a week is a great.
Okay.
I really love it when I see people coming every week. I love it even more when people come twice or 3
Yes,
times a week.
Okay, got it.
Because it shows me that they're committed and that they are getting something out of it, because you wouldn't come back if you didn't enjoy it and didn't feel the benefits of it.
That's correct. That's proof enough.
Yeah. And I know that not everyone is going to be like that. For me, when I started, I got a bit hardcore into it. I was going even 6 or 7 times a week.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
Just because I loved it so much, and it just opened my mind to so many different things. But now I do have a daily practice generally, except when I'm on holidays.
Okay.
And that can be anywhere from 15 minutes up to an hour, depending. But generally around the half an hour a day is kind of optimum. Yeah.
Do your students in general, I don't know if what kind of connection you have to them, if you also have like private talks, do they also practice on their own, or do they just go to your classes and do it?
I would say the majority don't.
Okay.
There's a couple that do. And what I'm really, I guess the aim of where I'm at now is actually trying to encourage people to do more of a home practice, which is why I want to put some online classes
Yeah, I heard
together.
about that. I was going to ask you about that. So you have some online program on, or you have some online classes? Where people
just a small, I've got one little mini course at the moment, which I'm...
Where do people find it?
Good question. Well, it's on teachable.com, and there's a link to it on my Facebook page. I haven't actually put it on my website yet, but I will put a link there on my website very soon. But it's just 3 different classes that I've put into a little mini class sort course.
It's a start.
It's a start.
So if I would just sign up, I would get a pretty good idea of what I need to do. Is it also for beginners, or is it for people who already know what they're doing?
No, it's pretty basic. So it's a mini course. It's got 3 classes. The first class is about 25 minutes in length, and it's actually a self-massage practice. So
self-massage.
yeah,
Wow.
so there's a
That's
practice.
interesting, isn't
yeah.
it? Okay.
There's a practice called Do-In, which is a way of sort of waking up energy in the body, and self-massage. So, you know, we do things like, you know, tapping on the head,
okay.
and, you know...
Is it something to do with
rubbing.
that special tapping practice, that EFT?
Similar. There's connection to
Okay.
that, but yeah, it's not as precise.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's like a 20, and that's kind of full body warm-up. So for
Okay.
25 minutes you can self-massage yourself and warm your whole body up.
Okay.
And that might be all you need for the day. And that's also really good for circulation. So if you find you have, you know, cold hands, cold feet, or even hot hands and hot feet, or, you know, that type of thing. So it's really good just to get the circulation going. And again, that's a really good thing for summer time, because the heart is all about circulation.
Okay.
So that's also a good thing to do in summer to get your circulation going. And then the second class is about 45 minutes, and that is just a really good back class, so focusing on back health.
Well,
yeah.
I guess most people have back problems today, right?
Yeah, this is
Sitting
true.
in front of the computer in the office.
Yeah. Or
not
even, you know,
walking.
I get a lot of people coming in who say, you know, I've been in the garden,
Yeah.
my back's a bit sore, you know, they've been weeding or digging or, you know,
Yeah.
that type of thing. And then the third class is just really short. It's about 10 or 12 minutes, and I just threw in the salute to the sun sequence.
Oh, okay.
So that was the first bit of yoga I ever learnt way back when I was a kid, actually. And yeah, and the salute to the sun is like I'd say, you know, probably every yoga student would learn the salute to the sun at some point in their practice. I don't teach it often because a lot of people have trouble getting up and getting down, getting up and getting down, because there is you know, a sequence of standing, and you know, you go into down dog, and then you on the floor, and then you press up, and then you back up again. So it's quite a vigorous practice once you get the hang of it. So I just did that as a sort of an intro to how to do a salute to the sun. It's my version. It's, you know, everyone's got a slightly different take, but that's the kind of one that I like to practice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds very interesting. So just wrap up. How would your life be without yoga?
Shoot. I didn't say that.
Well, you can say it. Okay.
I think I think I would be in a completely different place. I would not have. I think physically I'd be in a lot poorer condition. I think mentally I would have lost it years ago.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah, it's sort of kept me. Yeah, I found it. I mean, I came to yoga like proper when I was about 20, and you know, I'd been partying a lot and taking recreational drugs and things, and it kind of totally shifted out of that when I started yoga. I mean, I was still kind of in that scene, but then...
Did you not have the urge of taking drugs anymore and partying, or was it kind of like did you kind of force yourself not to do it, or was it kind of like this coming from the inside?
It kind of took it away.
Wow.
It was,
cool.
You know, it felt like, I wasn't doing that really, the drugs and the partying. I mean, I like the partying side of things, but the whole drug thing was never really sat with me too well. But that gave me the strength to sort of let that go. And I felt stronger on the inside, and that enabled me to move forward onto a different level. I mean, the partying still stuck around for a little bit after that, but
Nothing wrong with
no,
that.
nothing wrong with that. But then, you know, you feel more confident in yourself and about the decisions you make and the people you choose to hang out with, and all that other stuff just falls away. And I guess for me, and I wouldn't say this is for everyone, but it just helped me find more of who I am and helped me express that.
Well, that was a good finishing word. Unless there's anything else you want to say, you want to share?
No, thanks for watching.
Well, all right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information.
Yeah, no.
So now I know a little bit more about yoga. And well, thank you very much, Leah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.